Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we got lined up for you today. Singer Peter Andre will be swapping my West End stage for my kitchen table as we took it into a couple of delicious fish dishes. MasterChef, the professional judge, Monica Galetti will be here as well. She'll be making another appearance in the kitchen, and I'll be rustling up some lamb kebabs on the banks of the River Test. And we've got more brilliant cocktails from the First Dates barman. Merlin Griffiths is back. I'm looking forward to that one. And don't miss this week's little masterclass where we're showing you how to make some stunning meringue kisses using the leftover bits of amazing summer fruit that we've got still in season at the moment. But that's not all, because I'll be joined also by two of the country's hottest young chefs whose restaurant Orwell's has become the toast of the Thames Valley. It's Ryan Lee and Simpson-Trotman. Good to have you back on the show. What are you going to be doing then? What are you going to be doing? What have you decided? Because our team go out shopping for this show, and we need about 2-3 days to prep for this show. We didn't know what they were doing until last night, and we still don't know what you're doing. So what have you dug up from your garden or bought from the shop on the way here?
Very, very seasonal. So cob nuts, we've got churros, we've got some lovely apricots matched with a bit of lamb.
Custard lamb rack.
And we're going to throw in a little bit of OFC as well, but not C.
OFC is Orwell's fried chicken. We're going to do Orwell's fried sweetbreads. So OFS.
Yeah. So you didn't get that from the petrol station on the way here, then?
No.
Yes. Right, they're kicking things off today by making a winter salad using some dressings and vinegars and oils sent to us by an amazing lady in Northumberland. I'll introduce you in a minute, because I know it's one of your favourite salads, isn't it, really? It's goat's cheese, it's everything that's, you know, I mean, wonderful beetroot. We've got some crispy bacon, which I'm going to do, some lovely little croutons, some goat's cheese. These little sort of pecans, what I'm going to do with these is sort of caramelise them. So just usual sort of caramelisation, just some sugar in a pan, and then pop those in there and chop them all up. And then we've got some lovely lettuces over here. And I love things like chicory this time of year because there's a nice little bitterness, the radicchio. These are interesting, these little cotters, little romaine lettuces that buy, the little stumpy ones. These are really good. Whatever you want to do in a nice little salad. So we're going to crisp up the bacon using some of this oil. Now, I'm going to make sure I get the right one, not the lemon one, which is that one, because we're going to fry off some of this. I'm going to use some of this to make the dressing as well. So the crispy bacon, we're going to fry that in there. That's going to go in with the beetroot and everything else. It's just, this dressing tastes amazing. But I'm going to utilise the fat from the bacon to actually make the dressing as well, so we don't waste any of it. That's going to go in here. So, but I said to you, we're going to go, by the power of the internet, we're going to find out where these amazing vinegars and oils come from, and we're going to head up to the beautiful coastline of Northumberland, speak to Karen Park from Seabanks. Are you there, Karen? I can see you in your kitchen. Now, I mentioned that coastline. It is spectacular in that neck of the woods. It's an amazing... Anybody that hasn't been there is missing a real trick, aren't they? It's a beautiful area.
It's absolutely amazing. The big, long stretches of beaches, which are really never that busy. A castle around every corner. It really is amazing. So yeah, we're sort of halfway between Newcastle and Berwick-upon-Tweed, and we're right on the coast. Yeah, it's amazing.
Tell me, because this is fascinating. This is the reason why we did this in the middle of COVID land. All the stuff was happening. We wanted to introduce everybody out there to the amazing producers we have in this country. While you were in the middle of COVID land, you decided to take on a business that's completely different to your day job. Tell us what you were doing before and what you're doing now.
Before, I was a solicitor, but food's always sort of just been around me. My mother was a cookery teacher, my father was a farmer, so, you know, and I'm a total foodie myself. So I was on maternity leave, having had my second child. She was 6 months old, and we got offered this business because we used to press or sell rapeseed oil to a chap just outside Newcastle who would press it. So he would hire a van and come up to the farm and take a couple of tons of rapeseed away. So we got to know him, and he did it as a hobby. He got promoted at work, and he said to my husband one day, I can't press this oil anymore. I need to sell the business, and I really think Karen should do it. And you know, I'd not long had my second child, and it was a bit like, I don't know the first thing about pressing oil. But he came up to the farm a couple of times, lovely chap, showed me how to do it, and it works really well. It works with the kids. I get to work from home. It fits in with my husband's.
It's relatively a simple process, isn't it? Really. So, and it's a fascinating thing, rapeseed, because it's used for a variety of different things, from fuel. I know the byproduct that you produce. You can use it as pig feed, into little pellets. I mean, it's so sustainable as well. Is this as an item? But when you see it in the field, that's the yellow flowers. It's not the yellow flowers that people think of. That's not the bit that turns it into the oil. Explain to the bit that you turn into the oil. It looks like sort of French beans, doesn't it? These sort of dark black French beans.
Yeah, the rapeseed flower, once it comes out of the yellow flower, the pods ripen, and within the pods there's just lots of little black seeds. So the combine comes in August, takes the seeds out of the pod, comes out the combine, and then we put it through a really simple press machine, which just has a big screw in it, and then I just put it into 100-litre cans, and I just let it sit. It just sits, and it settles itself, so you'll get sediment at the bottom. So I just leave it when it's warm. I sort of leave it for a couple of weeks. If it's cold, I need to leave it longer than that. So there's nothing quick about the process. It's just it was a real artisan sort of process.
Well, the real true test. I've got my beetroot over here. I've chopped up my nice little bit of goat's cheese. I've got my pecans, which I've caramelised there.
Lovely.
I've just put a touch of this vinegar in with the pecans right at the end. But these are the crispy pecans in just some sugar. I've got my crispy bacon in there. I'm going to deglaze it in this vinegar, because the real true test of all this is having chefs taste your food. Now, I know you supply some restaurants as well, and some well-known chefs that I know of with some of your amazing produce, but I'm going to get the guys to taste a few of this. So this is the standard. I know you're a big lover of this.
We're massive fans of cold-pressed rapeseed oil. It's the only oil and grapeseed oil that we use in the restaurant, so I'm looking forward to the nuttiness from it.
What was quite interesting, when I first started off as a chef, it was all olive oil everywhere. And now the whole sort of like rapeseed oil has really taken over in the UK. And to be honest with you, when I trained in France, they called it colza oil, so they've been using that for years in France. And the flavour, for me, is just so nutty and delicious. So, yeah, it's quite cool.
That is really good. For me, that is summer in a bottle. Yeah. But what I get from that, I get nuttiness, but there's a little bit of sweetness to that, Karen, which is really, really nice.
That is delicious.
So once you take your oil like this, you add some. You got flavoured oils. So you add it. So once you cold press it, I'm assuming it's not a lemon essence, is it? What is it? Lemon. How do you infuse the lemon into it?
Yeah, it's pure Sicilian oil. So there are a number of flavour houses in the country. I didn't know things like that existed, but they get it directly from Sicilian lemons. So it's the best. I think it's the best I can get.
That's
amazing.
When we get a load of produce into this show, I get excited about the produce coming in. You open it all up, and people get excited about Amazon boxes coming in. I get more excited about you guys sending stuff, because it's really. But this next bit, the vinegar, I tasted this and went, yep, you're on. I don't know where it's from. You're on. This is amazing.
Just the smell is.
What do you put in this? This is incredible.
The balancing in that is fantastic.
Tell us about this raspberry vinegar then, because this is a business. Is this was part of the business when you bought it, or this is an addition?
No, this came as an add-on. I was really keen to do something else to add to the range, and there was a lady locally who produced fruit liqueurs and also fruit vinegars, and I got to know her quite well, and I said to her, if you were ever looking to move the vinegar business on, I'd be really interested. Anyway, she came back about 10 months ago and said, I'm looking to do something else. Are you still interested? And I went, absolutely. So it's her recipe. Can't take any credit for that. And she taught me how to do it. But I mean, it's a labour of love. It takes quite a long time.
The balance of that vinegar to the sweetness of those raspberries is bob on.
You definitely need to get more recipes from her. Definitely get more recipes.
It is.
Yeah, it's very good.
Because often a lot of the fruit vinegars, I mean, you've had plenty of them as well. You try them. It's quite manufactured.
They're quite strong.
They're quite strong, but also a lot of them are quite not fake. You know, they don't taste like the produce that should be.
That tastes like I've just went down to the garden, picked raspberries, and just drizzled the tiniest bit of vinegar on top of it to have with a fresh salad. It tastes amazing. I've got a question though, Karen. Summer raspberries or autumn raspberries, which one's the best?
I actually don't mind either. I grow both in the garden. The nice thing about the autumn raspberries is that they're bigger, but I think the summer ones probably do give out more juice, so that's sort of what I'm looking for. But for me, it's more about the sustainability. If the raspberries are there and they're ripe, they go in. But unfortunately, I can't. I produce so much of it now that I get through my raspberries in my garden quite quickly. So I source it from a farm in the south of England, and they produce top quality. It is amazing.
Well, I know that I know this is like this is like a game of tennis. I've created a nice little salad over here. I'm looking at you. You've been busy in the. This is like watching another cookery program. Looking down the line at you. What have you been making for us in front of you? What have you got in front of us?
I do a lot of cooking. As I say, my mum was a cookery teacher. That's what I used to do growing up at weekends. Was I would cook. I can't claim credit to all of this. This is a focaccia made with the lemon oil and some sea salt and some thyme, and it's made by a friend of mine in the village. And he uses the rapeseed oil for all his breads. No olive oil, it's all rapeseed oil. So he kindly made this for me yesterday, and I think. I think the bean were right. Just use rapeseed oil in bread. It makes great bread. I bake a lot with rapeseed oil. There's no creaming the butter and sugar. You just put the oil in, mix it around, then put it in. This is a lovely cake called Cake for Coffee. So there's lots of natural yogurt in it, flour, oil. And the recipe calls for plain oil and zest of orange and lemon, but you don't need that. Just need the lemon. Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the very best of luck with it. I know at the moment you produce 500 bottles a week. I think you're going to be doing quite a bit more in the future because that is fantastic. The vinegar, well, that's incredible. Well, best of luck with it as well. Best of luck with it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, James.
And I'll see you on a cookery channel somewhere soon. Loving the kitchen. Thank you very much, Karen. Cheers. So there you have it, my lovely winter salad with crispy bacon, pecan, croutons, goat's cheese, beetroot, everything, all on one platter. And don't forget that amazing dressing. Done.
That looks delicious.
There we go.
Oh, delicious.
Bon appetit. I don't know how you start it, but you can just stick it on there.
There we go.
Take pieces out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're saying, it's the type of food. I love stuff like this, wintry sort of salads. You just put it in the middle of the table and just everybody piles in. Whether you have that with a roast chicken or just on its own, it's just lovely.
Bacon and caramel.
Bacon and caramels.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not going to talk, it's delicious.
And don't forget the raspberry vinegar as well. There we are. Right, these two will be cooking for us a little bit later on this morning. I'll be joined in the house by singer and West End star now, Peter Andre, very shortly. But I'll see you after the break when we're down by the river serving up lamb kebabs. I'll see you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, coming up, MasterChef's professional judge, Monica Galetti, will be putting her own skills to the test in the kitchen, and Peter Andre will be tucking into a dish of cod very shortly. But before that, loads of you can get in touch on emails and social media and sending in your photos and videos of the dishes you've been cooking at home. So I thought I'd take a quick look at some of them you've been doing. So first up, a big well done, a massive well done, goes to Angela Bourne-Jones, who's had a go at my cheat gâteau. She said it was the best dessert ever. Hide the packet, Angela. There you go. I'm glad you had a go at it as well. That's using one of those sponge flans. You cut it in half and you layer it all up with the strawberries and raspberries and cream and that kind of stuff. It's delicious. Next up, Ellen Picton sent us this photograph of pea pancakes. Check these out. They look great. Served with a bit of smoked salmon and a poached egg as well. How good was that? And we got another photograph from Lorraine Forbes, who served up Sadler lamb with dauphinoise potatoes and home-grown salad. Oh, check that out as well. Great stuff there, Lorraine. And finally, top marks this week goes to Steve Keane in Nottingham, who made this raspberry and white chocolate cake. How good does that look? Amazing. can only make an umbrella, to be honest with you, because now it's actually started raining. Time now for another recipe, and today we're dipping into the archives and heading out to the riverbank to Laverstock Park for some lamb kebabs. Enjoy this one. Why does it always rain? Now, this is a wonderful little dish. Little lamb kebabs with a nice tzatziki and a lovely little glaze that I'm going to make with some apricot jam, bit of sugar, some ginger and some vinegar. It starts off with the kebabs. Really simple to prepare. You can turn these into koftas with a little bit of spice. Spices like cumin is what you would normally use for that, either ground or whole cumin. But I've got some wonderful lamb here, a little bit of parsley, onions, garlic, egg, and some breadcrumbs. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our onion. Now, you can dice this up nice and small if you want. I actually like it with a little bit of texture, but the problem is with that, if you cut the oven too thick, too big, they fall off the kebab. So when you're slicing the onion, nice and thin. Nice and thin. Really thin. Like that. So all the way through. Take your time with this one. So I used to have a record for the world's fastest carrot peeler and chopper. Guinness Book of the Records, it was. Shows you slow down as you get older, you see. But you appreciate things a lot more. Like the River Test. Look at that. The reason why I'm doing this with lamb, because I haven't caught anything. I can see them, but I can't catch them. But look, you just take a nice little bit of onion, and then I'm going to take some garlic. This one, though, rather than slivers of garlic, I'm just going to whack it and crush it in between a little bit of salt. By doing that, you end up with a nice little paste, so it goes through your mince nicely. So back of a knife, press it, and you get a nice little paste. So we've got our garlic paste, our thinly sliced onion, and then we need some parsley, so just some chopped parsley. And for this one as well, cut this in a little bit finer. You can use things like coriander and mint. I'm going to use it for a little bit of tzatziki, some basil and mint, but you can put whatever herbs you want in here. A little bit of rosemary if you wanted as well. That works a treat. So once you've got to that stage, into a bowl. And then we've got our minced lamb. Now, it's important, like I was saying, when you get lamb, particularly lamb mince, you get a good minced shoulder, combination of fat and lean meat. And you need that balance really nice, because if it's too fatty, it just falls off onto your coals. If it's too lean, it becomes too dry. So good quality butchers will give you good quality lamb and general mince anyway. We've got a little bit of breadcrumbs in here, a few bits of that, and then season it up with black pepper and a good pinch of salt. That is a good pinch. And then an egg to bind it. It's a good idea to start with one and then add another one if you need it, and then get your hands in. This is what I mean by cutting the onions nice and thin. You end up with this texture from it as well. So mix it all together. Then we keep mixing it. And this wants to mix for a good 3 or 4 minutes, so you get all those ingredients really combined into that minced lamb. Now, once you've got that and it's all done, it's pretty good to me, we can then think about our skewers. I'm going to use metal skewers for this one. If you're using wooden skewers, soak them in water overnight and then press your meat kebabs really well. And I actually like them quite thick with the kebabs. Press it quite firmly and keep going until they're nice and compact. Don't make them too thin, but don't make them too thick. And then once you're happy with it, that can go straight on the coals. Just keep going. Now, these need to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Gives me enough time to wash my hands. while the lamb's cooking away nicely, we can create a nice little glaze just to glaze them. And for that, we just want some apricot jam, just a little bit, some brown sugar, just a touch, and some vinegar. And then just a few slivers, if you've got it, a little bit of ginger is really nice. And if you basically slice it with the skin on, it produces this lovely warm heat as well. We just pop that into our little glaze. Now, because it's got the sugar and it's got the apricot jam in, we almost want to cook these little koftas all the way through. So just while they're cooking, you can then cook out that ginger and everything else. And it produces this wonderful little sticky glaze to go with it. So they're not far off cooked now. We can then just finish this off with a little classic tzatziki, nice little bit of cucumber. The thing is about this, you need to take the seeds out of your cucumber before you make it, because these contain so much water in the seeds, so just scoop out the seeds. That's where all the water is in a cucumber, so if you're going to do this, the tzatziki just ends up being really watery, so remove the seeds out first, particularly if we're making it in advance. You can see that bubbling away nicely, that lovely little glaze. And then we can just chop this up into dice. At the same time, we've got some mint. I've got some basil. Again, we can chop that up as well. Mint's the crucial thing in this. Basil or parsley, really, but it's up to you. Coriander even. Nice little bit of that. And then some lemon or lime. It's entirely up to you what you want to put in. And you just combine all these ingredients with full-fat yogurt. They're going to go in there. So all in, straight in, a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, salt and pepper. Give that a good stir. And that's it, done. Easy as that. A great little sort of dressing to go with this. Now, just to finish this off, we then take our glaze. You can see that lovely glaze. And I'm just going to brush these. Look at these. They just come alive if you just brush them with a little bit of this apricot jam, vinegar, ginger. The most important bit is you do this at the last minute because the jam and the sugar, they just burn if you're not careful. So as soon as they're done, we can then lift this off because they're ready. We can take off our kebabs like that, slide them off the skewers. Same with this one. Straight off. Now, they don't take very long to cook at all, these, but don't forget you've got more of this glaze. I mean, look at this. It goes lovely and sticky, so get plenty of that over the top of these. So it is great, this little glaze. It needs the vinegar, but it is fantastic. And then, of course, all you need now is a dollop of this nice, fresh tzatziki. And there you have it. Little lamb kebabs with a tzatziki. Lovely, aren't they? Still to come, it's still raining, and we've got a recipe from chefs Ryan and Lee and Simpson-Trotman. A master mixologist, that'll warm us up. Merlin Griffiths will be serving up some incredible cocktails. But I'll see you back here in a few minutes where we're treating Peter Andre to cod with romesco sauce. It was supposed to be in beautiful sunshine. Just give up. Welcome back. Now, Chef Monica Galetti will be firing up the stoves for us shortly, and first date star Merlin Griffiths will be mixing up some amazing cocktails a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a singer, actor and presenter who's celebrating 30 years in the business with Sellout Run in the West End. It's Mr. Peter Andre!
Thank you.
Ching, ching, ching. We've both got to celebrate, because 30 years, you've been in the industry, 30 years, I've been in the industry as well.
And we both don't look a day over 30.
Well, you look slightly better than what I do. I think I've not... you've aged better than me as well, but welcome to the house. You've never been here before.
You know, it's lovely. I'd been told so much about it, but actually being here is something special, and I've seen all your car collections, and I've had a great day.
You're welcome, and I've counted the cars to make sure that none of them are nicked on the way out as well. That's...
Yes, but you counted them before I left.
Exactly. So
I haven't left yet.
So anyway, I'm going to cook for you. I know you're a big lover of Mediterranean, obviously, from Greece as well. We've got an amazing selection of ingredients in front of you. I thought we'd go Spanish for this one, because, you know, I've just come back from Spain, just done an amazing trip around Spain. So we're going to do one of the classic recipes, really, romesco sauce with a beautiful bit of cod. And I'm going to do that with a nice little topping of some hazelnuts, some almonds, some lemon, some parsley as a topping for the cod, but it's all about the sauce that goes with it, really. So first of all, I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil, and then we're going to take some almonds and some hazelnuts and just toast these. This is for that crumb. First of all, it's just going to sit with it. So I'm going to toast these off lightly and then crush them down, really, as well. Because I know that you obviously love your food as well, because you still stay absolutely trim as a daisy as well. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, how it all started for you, because, you know, back then, there wasn't really talent shows in the UK.
No.
But it must have been one of the first ones in Australia, wasn't it, really? This talent show that you then went on, and the rest is history, really. That must have been one of the very, very first ones.
It was. There was a show called New Faces in Australia, and it was on, you know, it was the big show, and the guy that would sometimes be a judge on it was a very well-known person in Australia, and he was also a journalist, so everybody that came to Australia, all the royals, they would only let this person interview them. And he was a judge on this show, so it was a very scary thing to try and go on, because you thought, if you're going to get humiliated, you're going to get humiliated nationally. So if you're going to go down, you may as well go down with a bang. But if you're going to succeed, this is a chance.
Were you always a driver as a kid? Because you come across as a person that, you know, you strive and you push on and you push on. You've always got that determination. Were you always like that as a kid?
Yeah, I was. And I think, you know, I come from a bit of an old school generation where there's this saying that I say to my kids where, and I heard it somewhere, that if you see the prize at the top of the mountain, when we were kids, our dad would say, you want that prize, you better start climbing. And you'd climb and then you'd fall over and you'd be like, oh, I've got a sore leg. And he'd go, well, if you don't get to the top, you're not going to get that prize. Yeah. And now what we're saying with some of our kids is they see the prize at the top of the mountain, but they don't see the mountain.
Well, it's this stuff that gets you. And that's social media, it's everything else nowadays, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and it's not their fault, but it's the way, you know, that we were brought up that way. So, yes, very
well, you mentioned your father, because I was reading about you last night as well, because we get a nice brief on our guests. I was reading about it. Wasn't it your father that sort of stopped your paychecks from when you first got your music deal? I mean, your dad went, I'm having that, we're keeping that to one side to stop you doing what a lot of people do and blow it all.
Yeah, because so when I went on the show, and I was very lucky to win it and get the recording contract, and then of course I became a typical late teenager, early 20s, spending what I had on my friends, on relationships, on travel. And Dad said, be careful, because as quick as the money comes, it will go. And I was like, yeah, OK, but...
It's very easy with that sort of circle, particularly with the music as well.
Yeah, you're living...
A friend of mine works in the music. He's been there for, well, over 30 years. And I remember him saying that the music industry organised cars for you to be picked up, and you think it's really glamorous, but it's all coming off your paycheck at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I remember, actually, this is the first time I've remembered this. I used to travel, even when I was having all this huge success in Australia and touring with Madonna and all this. The record company were making me fly economy, putting me in these really cheap hotels. And I thought, oh, at what stage do you get a business class flight? Or, you know, this is the way my mind was thinking.
Yeah.
And I remember saying it to the record company. He said, well, you can have it, but you're going to have to pay it all back. At that stage, I didn't care. So I was like, yes, yes, yes. And then one day I went home and I said to Dad, I don't have anything left. And he let me live with that for a few days. Instead of saying to me, don't worry, son, he just said, well, you'll learn a lesson. And then a couple of days later, we sat down and he said, remember you said you've got nothing left? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I've been putting money aside for you. And he saved me enough from royalties, not just to be OK, but...
Set you up.
yeah, and he said, you can't have it. It's all going into properties.
Yeah.
And so he invested in properties for me and put it all under my name, and it was just the greatest thing.
I love how you just mentioned Madonna in amongst all that.
I know. Do you like the way I did
conversation
that?
as well? You just dropped that one in as well. So I'm just pan frying a little bit of fish. So I can see you got your eye on it over
Amazing.
here.
Oh, I'm loving it.
I've got a combination of almonds and hazelnuts I've toasted off, just with a little bit of parsley. I'm just going to take some lemon zest into here as well. And we're just going to do that as a nice little topping, bit of Dijon mustard, and then get on and do my romesco sauce as well. But I want to fast forward to what you've just been doing now. We'll talk about everything else because you're sticking with us all morning. I want to fast forward. You just finished, and you just finished Grease in the West End.
That was phenomenal.
Because this is the second time you've been involved in it, isn't it, really?
It's such a great... I mean, it's such an iconic storyline. You know, most people remember the film, but actually the script, the screenplay or the theatre version was before the film.
Was it really? I didn't know that.
Yes, and there were a few little things that were different. Sandy is a brunette from America, not from Australia. She's not blonde from Australia. And Danny's still good-looking. I mean, you know, still a good-looking fella.
So which part do you play then?
Not Danny.
Which part do you play?
Well, I thought I did. I've said this before. I did get offered Danny years ago, and I didn't take it, which I regretted. And then when they came back and said, "We'd love to have you on," I thought, "Yeah, I'd love to play Danny." And they went, "You're slightly too old to play Danny now." I mean, you know, I am 50. I can't quite play a teenager. But yeah, I play the Teen Angel, and I also play Vince Fontaine. And on this particular run that I did, Jason Donovan was doing Teen Angel and Louise Redknapp.
I mean, that must have been amazing to work with her.
Yeah, I didn't get to see Louise, which I was a bit gutted about because we worked so much together in the 90s. But she had done the show before I came in. So me and Jason have been having a great time.
Well, just to show you've been having a great time, we've got a little clip. So just have a look at this. Doesn't remember that.
I know, and can I tell you a really funny thing that happened? So Judy Murray one night, she came to the show and she said, "Oh, I'd love to come and see you in Greece." And I said, "Of course." So we arranged it and she came to the show and everything was great. And after the show, I said, "You know, what did you think? You know, were you impressed?" And that she goes, "Oh, yes, that Kaniki is fantastic." And all she went on about was Kaniki and Grease Lightning, and I was like, great, thanks for that. But, yes, it's a phenomenal show. The actors are great. It's a beautiful production. Fantastic.
Because as well as music, I mean, that was a big, obviously, passion of you as a kid. Acting has always been there. That urge to act has always been there for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I did acting actually first as a kid, and it wasn't music that I studied. In fact, I failed in music.
Was it Dracula you were in?
I was Dracula. I
do my research on you.
That's amazing. I was Dracula in Dracula Spectacular, and I did have a few lead roles when I was younger, but music is what took off.
Yeah.
And I always said to my dad, when I get to 40, I'm going to start going into film, and he was like, "Yeah, all right, son, you know, just go and do your homework." And then late 40s, I did my first 3 short films in America. They've all won awards. It's been amazing. And so, yeah, after those 3 shorts, I got offered a lead role in the UK, which I've just done, and is in edit now. So I pray, at least I'm doing what I said I was going to do. Whether it's a success or not, I have no idea.
Because you're 30 years in the business now. You did, I'm just recap on bits and pieces we got
this
in here.
smells fantastic,
The
by the way.
telling me,
I can't
talk
even
about
tell
the
you.
food as well. So anyway, right. So we've got our cod that's in the oven, which I've put a little bit of mustard over the top. We've got our almonds and our hazelnuts, a little bit of lemon, some parsley. That's just cooking away nicely in the pizza oven. At home, 6 minutes in the oven, something like that, about 180 degrees. This is the romesco sauce. So we take some tomatoes, sometimes done with just tomatoes, sometimes done with tomatoes and peppers. We've got wood roast peppers. We've got some garlic, and then you pop that into your pestle and mortar. You can put this in a blender. And then all we're going to do is just crush this all down. So we mentioned acting and bits and pieces that you're doing, but when you speak to a lot of performers, a lot of it, but the stage really, the West End, is where it's all at. I mean, I tour, and it's probably out of everything I do, and it's different for a chef. It's different, but it's one of the most magical experiences, isn't it? When
100%.
when you're on stage and people are coming to see you every single night. It's
And I think a West End show or a stage show, the reason why it's so loved by, you know, all actors and singers around the world is because that's the one where you have to do all three. You have to sing, dance and act live every night. Now, that means there's no mistakes. You can't make mistakes. It's not like... So say in a film, you have your scene and you can go over that scene 4 or 5 times and they might film it 4 or 5 times. But this is all the three combined and you have to do it right. And I absolutely love theatre. I actually can't believe I never really did it before.
Yeah, it is something magical, isn't it? There really is.
It is,
and long may it continue as well. But look, you've got your nice little bit of cod here because we're nearly there to serve this. A little bit of cod. We take the olive oil over the top to finish this off. That's the cod. It's been in the oven for no more than, what, 3-4 minutes, something like that. You allow it to rest slightly like this. Our nice little romesco sauce. If you want it a lot smoother, you can blend it in a food processor. But this is all those nice flavours, the salt, the pepper. And like I said, a lot of the time you have this really smooth, but I think it's better like this. I think it's much better just like this, nice and simple.
It looks phenomenal.
And then you take your lovely bit of cod. You can mix and match the fish with this. You can do this piece of salmon if you want. But this then sits on there like that. There you have your first dish, a simple roast cod topped with almonds and hazelnuts, toasted with lemon and parsley with a romesco sauce. Done.
Wow.
Right, you get to dive into this one. Have a taste of that. So I'll have a little taste of this one that we got on here. But now, romesco sauce, just to recap, you can make it with just tomatoes, you can do it with peppers, you can do it with both, like I've done in here. But it's basically tomatoes, garlic, bread, and it's almonds. And you can use, obviously, hazelnuts as well, or a combination of both, or all three. But a little bit of the bread, some olive oil, sherry vinegar at the end. But
Oh, I'm going to have to say it. And it's a stupid joke, but I'm going to have to say it. Oh, my cod. I mean, this is incredible. It really is incredible.
Right, I'll be making a dish of brilled clams and mussels for Peter at the end of the show. And I'll be giving you a masterclass in meringue kisses a little bit later from the late, great Michel Roux Sr.'s recipe. But join us again after the break when chefs Ryan and Liam Simpson-Trotman will be taking over the kitchen duties. You're enjoying that, aren't you?
Why spend the money to go to Spain when you can
have
just come
me
to one of
cooking
your
for you?
restaurants?
I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Coming up, I'll be laying on a slap-up lunch of grilled clams and mussels for Peter Andre. That's coming up a little bit later. But first, I'm being joined by the barman, Merlin Griffiths. It's not often you stick around for the entire show. It's good to have you on for the whole day as well.
I'm excited.
It's nice as well. You're excited about this next dish as well, as I am, really, because we're about to enjoy a dish from the chefs behind the award-winning All Wells in Henley. It's Ryan and Liam Simpson-Trotman. Wonderful to have you back. This dish looks amazing. It's a chefy shot, a treat, really, over here. Lamb at its base, at its heart.
Celebration of lamb.
OK.
Got the lamb rack, we've got sweetbreads, we've got lamb heart.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think, oh, lamb heart is going to be a little bit, but it's absolutely delicious. Tastes like a kebab. Delicious.
The things like with offal, you've got to try it, first of all, to say you don't like it, innit, really? And
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
You said it tastes like a kebab. It's got a flavour on its own, but it is delicious.
Well, the thing is, we put it with a bit of cumin, don't we?
Yeah, it's
and
really nice. And I don't think it's too strong, the flavour of the lamb's heart. I mean,
it's not like liver, is it, and stuff like that?
It's not as gamey as that at all. So we're going to do the Cotswold rack of lamb. And then to showcase that, Ryan obviously just said we're going to do the heart. We've got some delicious stuff, James, and you're going to like it.
Sweetbreads.
Sweetbreads, but we're going to do it OFS style, so all Wells fried sweetbreads. So we're going to go in a little bit of buttermilk, this beautiful crispy flour that we whip up, which we'll give you the recipe later.
So this has got a range of different spices in. I'm sure it's got like onion, salt, garlic,
onion, salt, garlic, paprika, black pepper, white pepper, a little bit of what else in there? Well, it's quite secretive, to be fair. The only
bit of
three of us who know
paprika,
it.
turmeric, baking powder. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's finger looking good.
So are you still? Last time you were on, you were front of house. Are you still front of house and There's back of house or what?
I've been pushed back into the kitchen.
Oh, you're now back.
I fell back. More like
Apparently the food tasted better, so I've gone back.
So you're both now behind the stoves then?
Yes, where we belong, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a big influence in the front of house. I do sort of like give a lot of direction into the cocktails, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, for me, it's where my heart is. My heart's in the kitchen. I love cooking, so.
Because the restaurant, I mean, I've been there recently as well. Your restaurant, I'll tell everybody about where is it? Is it converted pub? Would it be?
So, yeah, a pub overlooks Oxford countryside. It's beautiful. It's converted to a restaurant over the last 13 years we've been there. 13 years, James, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's beautiful. We've just had a bit of time off, refurbed it, redecorated it.
Yeah.
They gave it a bit of life, really, isn't it? And it's quite nice. But we are lucky, though. We are quite blessed. You know, we obviously we grow our own vegetables, and we've got some of that here today.
Gardening's at the,
it's
big
at the
influence
forefront of what we do. Obviously, all our menus are creative, especially obviously this time of the year when there's a lot of stuff from the polytunnel. We pickle a lot, we preserve a lot. We've got some sweet corn which we want to toast, so a nice nuttiness to it. We've got a little bit of kale, which is curly kale. We've got some beautiful Scottish girolles, and then we've got some Kentish cob nuts, but these are Orwell's cob nuts from the garden.
So you know it's the time of year. I was walking around the shop the other day, and you could see these cob nuts, and they've got their husks on it as well. You know that's the time of autumn.
Perfect. We watched them in the garden, watched the squirrels testing the nuts and the amount of shells on the floor. So we have to be quicker sometimes than the squirrels, just to get a little bit. It's always good to keep some for nature.
Yeah. Or the beagles.
Or the
beagles love cob nuts. Absolutely love cob nuts.
So last time I was on there, you've sadly recently lost the older beagle, which we
we lost Truffle a few weeks ago, so that's quite sad. She was 13, so she was the last member of the Orwell's team in 2010. But obviously we've got Whiskey and Fizz, who are just
Whiskey and Fizz making up for it because they're just mad, insane.
And Fizz is proper fizzy, and Whiskey's proper chill. Yeah. But I mean, you're a dog man. You like your dogs. I mean, they're absolute joy. So much fun.
Exactly.
So much fun.
Bring so much joy to your life, and also I think you can have the most stressful day at work. You can be. Dogs are always a level playing field.
Always
no matter
there,
whatever
they at the end of the day. They want to cuddle, a kiss.
So what you've got the lamb that goes in the oven for how long?
Yeah, so about 10 to 12 minutes. We're going to put it in at 220 and let it rest. Because we ain't got that time, we've done one earlier. So yeah, we've got one resting behind us, which is quite.
So I'm going to use this lovely Greek olive oil.
Yeah.
So
tell us about this sweetbreads then. Explain to us. Do you have to prepare these? How have you prepared them?
Okay, so sweetbreads. We take the sweetbreads, leave them in milk for a day, wash the milk off, and then we cook them just in a water bath or in a pan with a bit of chicken stock. Right. Bring it to a slight boil and just let them sit.
So are they quite soft when you get them originally before they...
Oh, yeah, they're very jelly-like and it can be... The texture could be off-putting, but you want that crispiness on the outside.
And that's where you've got to put them in milk for 24 hours. That's
24 hours,
the key. That's the key to it. And then slowly cooking them, or you just simply... A lot of people just poach them.
Yeah.
They firm up. Because the problem is, if you don't do that, then the texture is quite unusual, and you wouldn't want to pan fry them straight away like that. So
and also the smell.
So if I actually go to a local butcher, I can ask them about the brains.
The sweetbreads are the pancreas of the.
Oh, pancreas. Sorry,
pancreas. So it's the thyroid gland, isn't it? So
it's amazing how people still think sweetbreads are the fries of the animal.
Yeah.
Which they're over them. We don't use them no more in cooking at all. So toasted sweet corn, nice nuttiness to it. So this is just being cooked. We actually sous vide this we use some grapeseed oil, rosemary, thyme, garlic.
Is that vinegar you put in there as well, or something?
Not yet. Vinegar will go with the girole mushrooms in a moment. That'll be the last thing. A little bit of sherry vinegar. We love our vinegars in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to get the sweetbreads in now, yeah? I'll do
the sweetbreads, you can do the cob nuts.
So the sweetbreads don't take very long at all. You explain to us what you're going to use. Because if you didn't want to do this with this, you can do this with chicken thighs, the same way.
Exactly. So this is the way you would do it, like with chicken thighs. So take your chicken thighs, you can brine them if you want to. We would, but if not, chicken thigh into a bit of buttermilk, leave it for a day, take it out, and then fry it around about 160 and make your own spiced flour, basically.
OK, so this is the sweet corn and the apricot. So apricot sweetness to it, really delicious. You can't use plums. Obviously, this time of the year, there's lots of bullaces, wild plums on the trees.
We're saying you have quite a lot of the bullaces. Bullaces are made, they're like a type of slow, aren't they? But they're...
Yeah, they're so good. I mean, we pick them when they're yellow, so that means we can have them a little bit longer in the fridge and they'll ripen in the fridge, which we get, obviously, a longer time to have them. But I'm a big fan of them. You know,
I've actually got them in the bottom of the garden. I've got a bullish tree. I didn't know what they were. They look like a slow.
I know where I'm going after this.
Yeah, but they're well, you can have them all, but it's got loads
It's a relative
of
of the blackthorn.
Yeah, but it makes the most amazing jam. So it's got a high pectin content, and you just cook them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It makes amazing jam.
Really good.
Oh, nice.
And if you do slows the same way, it doesn't work. So it's the bullish, the type of...
correct, exactly. That's stone fruit, isn't it, which is amazing. So Scottish rolls, just a little bit of oil in the pan, a little bit of butter. I want it to be a little bit nut brownie. Yeah. And add a little bit of water to the glaze, and then finish off with a little bit of the sherry vinegar. All right, and that's it.
I wondered where the vinegar was going in.
I just like those little snippets of vinegar when we cook things, especially like meat, especially red meat, that levels of acidity, which is brilliant. That's all it is, really. I've got no fancy chives today. I forgot to bring them from the garden. Tell you what, don't grow chives in your garden. You just come back year on year on year and you just take over everything.
So, but obviously, you two have been partners for a while now. Does one take the side of the kitchen and the other one takes the side of the kitchen, or you...
It usually starts with a fight at the beginning of the morning. And then I always win and I get
Do
all
not
the interesting
listen
jobs.
to him, he's lying. So how it usually starts, I go up early, I go on a 20k bike ride while Ryan's still in bed. Then I'll go down, I do pastry, I do garnish, and Ryan does the meat. And that's how it works. And, you know, it works really well. I mean, we've been together for 17 and a half years, James, so if we haven't got it right in 17 and a half years, we'll never get it right.
Well, exactly that, exactly that. Right, so your lamb, you just flashed it back into one.
Yeah, so the one that's been resting straight back in the oven, and
Yeah.
the one that's just come out the oven will sit there and rest, basically for you guys to eat afterwards.
Yeah. So what you did with the heart, you just pan-fried it just very, very quickly. That's the key to it, just really, really quick.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Which is on there.
Yeah.
Got there.
Oh, with the heart or the... Yeah, just pan-fried very, very quick. Leave it quite medium rare.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. I'm going to season it with the cumin salt now. So this is where we turn it into a bit of a kebab. Because you've got to think that cumin...
So that's just cumin powder and salt. That's...
So seaweed, dehydrated, blended up with a bit of cumin and a little bit of Molan salt.
So it's not just cumin and salt?
No, it's not, is it? Guys, could I use, like, nori, seaweed?
100%,
Yeah, taste a little bit.
Yeah. Try it,
So there we go, that's our one, you know. Ryan, do you want to season this up?
Yeah.
Then we'll let them have a try of this little OFC.
Cumin, coriander, they're great flavours for me.
In a drink.
Yeah, you can pop the veg on.
Seaweed makes the difference.
Have you seen this,
It
James?
is, it makes it almost biscuity.
Yeah.
That's really nice and
It's
malty.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we always use our favourite salt on here.
He's actually let me plate up for once, I can't believe it.
So, yeah, so I'm just going to pop this on the plate here like this. That's the little... For me, that's the showstopper, because I absolutely love sweetbreads like that. And as you know, I've cooked off some extra for Sheffy.
What, for me?
Yeah, go
a
for
bit
it.
of deep fried stuff.
Do you want to grab the lamb out there, Liam?
But sweetbreads are just...
And then
I know
we'll
we
grab the
never
sauce.
really do this on the show, but you have to taste this as it is.
Yeah.
It's very hot, but just...
It's a rare treat, though, these sort of things. Because to be fair, most butchers don't carry it. They're like supermarket butcher shelf. You won't find this sort of stuff, will you?
You will if you ask for them.
Hey.
Yeah, I think if you can sort of like pre-order them, sort of thing. I think there's a few butchers that...
That is...
Oh, that's awful.
So what we like when we're doing lamb
that
is
is
try
one,
and... Or when we do any kind of meat dish, is try and use as much as we possibly can. So that's why we use the heart. It's not to be clever, but there's a lot of texture on that plate, which is very important. Texture and acidity. And then the pièce de résistance is getting that lovely lamb right.
So it is quite easy to cook something like this, you know.
It's very easy.
It
There's two
is.
of it. Yeah, it's really easy. Yeah, it's just really easy. There's a recipe that you won't tell us what's in it. Yeah, it's a really easy dish, yeah.
Oh, so we've got a lovely rested lamb there, as you can see.
Well, just see, look how perfect that is cooked. Look at that.
Do you know, that's the other amazing thing? For a big, fat piece of meat, that still only takes 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the resting.
It's the resting is the key.
It's the resting, yeah. So that's a good 20 minutes resting, which is very, very important. So
And then just flash through again, just to finish it off. Yeah.
Right.
that's the most
What is in
important
this
thing
again?
in a restaurant.
What is... Because people are going to... What is in... I'm going back to this.
Should we pot it up and sell it?
What is this? What is this? Explain to people, what is it?
So seaweed powder
Yeah.
blended with a little bit of my favourite Moldon salt
Yeah.
and some toasted cumin.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Toasted cumin.
So give us the name of this dish then.
We have Cotswold lamb rack with garden vegetables, Scottish rolls, and that magic little powder over there.
OFC, KFC.
Made that look very, very easy. Brilliant.
It's delicious.
Right, I'm looking forward to this. They're tasting now, so...
Right, tuck in and...
Should I give you a little bit? I'll swap you.
There we go. Oh,
swap
you know what? I actually love these.
I'll swap you a bit of that.
Look at that.
Enjoy, gentlemen.
It's a very pretty plate of food, isn't it, really?
It really is.
Actually, we can have a little slice of this, can't we?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, crew.
They are talented, these two. They really are.
I'm lost for words. That is so exact.
It's your type of food, and I could see while they were making it, this is your kind of thing.
Yeah, this is exactly what I would order if I...
Sweetbreads are amazing.
Yeah, they're delicious, aren't they? And with that little bit of heart on top.
Amazing. The lamb is spectacular as well. Sauce is wonderful. There you go.
We'll cook for you. You can save us drinks all afternoon. How about that?
Brian and Liam, everybody. Brilliant. Right, still to come, we've got Master meringue kisses, and Peter Andre will be here enjoying a well-earned dish of brill, clams and mussels. That's coming up a little bit later, but join us again after the break, when Merlin will be giving us a crash course in drinks. You're going to join us for that as well?
Certainly are.
That's outside. I'll see you in 2. Welcome back. Now we're chatting some more to my guest, Peter Andre, later, and I've got a masterclass in meringue kisses coming your way. That's coming next. But first, it's an honour to be joined in the house once again by a friend of the show who's one of the knowledgeable bartenders in the business. It's the brilliant Mr. Merlin Griffiths.
Thank you, James.
Ryan and Liam here as well. So before you crack on, because I know I'm going to hold you back because you're like this greyhound. I'll let him out of the traps. He's gone. Stop. Slow down. This is all about on the rocks.
It is, on the rocks. Look, the nights are drawing in now. You know, the days are getting shorter, and the days of these long, tall, cool, refreshing drinks, I think, are over. And so, short drinks that are literally on the rocks.
So you just taught me one thing. What is a short drink? It's a short glass.
Basically, yes. A short drink is a short drink. Not a tall drink.
It's simple as too many times in the kitchen and not enough time at the bar. But what are you making for us now, then? What is this one?
So we're going to start. First one is a Sazerac. So this comes out of New Orleans. Fantastic drink. Originally made with cognac, later made with rye whiskey. I like to do a little mix of both. And plus a little bit of bourbon in there too. So this one's great. Do you guys like old fashions?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
love old
that is. I mean, I've been to New Orleans as well. That is one place. If you want to experience bars, that is one special place.
It absolutely is a very special place. You know, there's a big trade show every year called Tales of the Cocktail that I used to go to every year back in the day. And so you get to sample all the New Orleans treats and you can see all the bands playing up and down Bourbon Street.
The music keeps going all the way through. So what have you just put in there now? What is this?
So we started with a peg of rye for each one and then a peg of bourbon. And meanwhile, I've got the glass here rinsing with absinthe.
Rinsing with absinthe?
Yes. You just want to coat
the little green fairy.
Lovely, yeah. You got that lovely anisette in there that's going to add to the complexity. You can strain that off, drink that on the side if you want. Right now, I'm not going to. Right, so now we've got chilled glasses, rinsed with absinthe.
You just put absinthe, you put that in there, and now you've just...
I've just discarded it to the side, traditional way. But, you know, it's very nice these days. You can also pour that into a little shot and have it as a sort of a chaser with it. There you go. And then just a little touch of homemade sugar syrup in there. About 2 teaspoons for each drink is going in. Like the old-fashioned, you need that sweetness, you need that bitters, you need your spirit.
Okay.
And there you go. You're there. Add some ice, give it a stir, and we will strain it into our glasses.
This is really cool, though. You've just flavoured the glass with it.
I suppose you could get fancy and spray it one of those fancy misties these days as well, couldn't you?
Have you ever seen like the fat wash, that sort of thing as well?
Yeah.
That's
I was now
interesting.
right. So if you're a fan of fat washing, I was doing beeswax washed old fashions as well, which is a lovely thing to do. 'Cause my neighbour makes
James
honey.
looks intrigued.
Yeah.
Well, I had, but see, this is there's a great chef in Birmingham. He introduced me to fat washing, but I think he first started the fat washing thing, as in he'd never really tested it or spoken to you. So it was a bit like. It's a bit like taking your roasting tray and just putting it in a glass and drinking it.
Sort of, yeah.
It was a bit horrific.
It's odd. Bartenders that I know came across it through bacon
it's
washing. A place called
improved.
Death Company
bacon.
were using bacon fat to wash their bourbon for their
Yeah,
old
now it's
fashions.
got a lot better. I've been back to the bar since
has.
he's mastered it now. So
But correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it an old perfumier's technique? It's halfway along the way that perfumers used to extract really difficult to extract oils.
Right.
Was the way that and it's sort of very, very similar to fat washing, and that's how it sort of ended up in the culinary world. Yeah.
So do you serve it on ice or do you serve it like that?
Strangely, this one, no ice.
No ice?
No
just-
ice,
okay.
traditionally in a Sazerac. But if you like a little ice, you certainly can. And there we go. From our lemons, just a little coin of lemon zest, which we're going to spray over the top of each one. And that's it. You don't put
These
the peel.
barmen,
I
they've
love
got
all
all, they've
these
got all the
lads.
moves, haven't they? They've got all the moves.
Very classy.
Queens.
Very classy.
There you
Thank
go,
you.
gents. Have a little taste, see what you make.
Right.
While I crack into...
I'll tell you what that just a little bit of lemon does, and that...
Yeah, just lifts the whole thing.
That is delicious.
It's dangerous, though, isn't it, that?
Yeah, but that's
That's
life.
slow. That's for that.
That's one of my...
That is delicious.
It's one of your favourites.
Oh, I love the Sazerac. Absolutely love it.
Sazerac, that's what that one's called. So where are we going now, then? Where are we going in the world now?
So, well, this summer we got busy and filmed a massive amount more first dates. And this is a drink that came out of working at our new restaurant down in Bath. You know, it's 10 years of first dates now as well.
Is it
Joe.
really?
It is, yeah.
And is that's a working bar that you just take over?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we do. We go and take over a local bar, you know, annoy the bar staff that work there. No, they're very kind letting us do it.
Yeah.
You know what it's like when you go and you have to pop up in somebody else's restaurant, for instance. Yeah, you always feel like you're stepping on other people's toes.
Well, it's a great show. It's a great show to watch as well.
Thank you. Well, I was asked by a lady who loves margaritas but didn't drink to do something like that. And so I've been making my margaritas as a Tommy's margarita for ages, which I don't know if you're familiar with the Tommy's.
Yeah.
All right, so that uses agave instead of your orange liqueur, right, alongside your lime and tequila. So I was going to stick with that approach, but I'm using... this one's called Everleaf, so this is saffron, vanilla, nice, rich, smoky flavours that then go nicely with your
This is
agave.
an amazing
I will
drink, that.
always start with a margarita in a
Same.
bar, always.
Now, margarita's got to be one of the most popular drinks
I reckon. Yeah.
for the bar, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Perennial favourite. I'm also squeezing in a little fresh orange juice straight from the fruit.
Okay.
All right, that's all in there. And finally, a little bit of orange bitter. So I'm just layering up those orange flavours, all right, because we're missing out on the... we're missing out on some of the other flavours you get from the tequila. You're
Is
missing out
this
on some of the
something that
flavours
you invent, or is this something that's already out there as...
This is something I made specifically for one of our dates.
Right.
Exactly. And I've now kept hold of it. You know, sometimes you just come across drinks and you're like, oh, no, that's a real keeper. This one really works. Because what I liked about this, being non-alcoholic, it still tasted like you were drinking a real margarita of a kind.
Beautiful. Okay.
I've rimmed it, by the way, before I shake it and pour it in, with a spiced salt here called tajin or tagine. I call it tagine or tahine, I think, because it's got a J, isn't it? Mexican, so isn't it? Which is a citrus, kind of a citrus salt with some chili flakes in it. Yeah, of sorts. You can make your own. I've done it with smoked paprika, citric acid, and salt. Nice. Or smoked sea salt, even better.
This I've got to say, this is one of those drinks, though, you just...
It's a mature drink, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not...
Classy.
Yeah, you just sit there and just enjoy it. It's just...
This
yeah,
is great.
it's
Look at
wonderful,
you. You've found
wonderful.
your happy place.
Well, I remember that. I certainly am my happy place. Whenever you come on, it's definitely my happy. But do you know when you the drink that you made that just blew me away was that one that I had in. It sounds very glamorous in Beverly Hills and that kind of. What was that drink you made?
Your cosmonaut. That's right. Yes.
I was in a bar and I couldn't remember the name of it, so I ended up calling him and going, "What was that drink that you made?" And I just gave the phone to the barman, and it was Cosmonaut. That was
Cosmonaut.
If you're ever in a
That's
bar,
right.
go and have a Cosmonaut. It's
Texting me
amazing.
from holiday to find out what's going on.
Exactly. So what is this then?
So there we go. Try our Ever After, I call it.
Right.
How's that sit for you, Chef?
That is stunning.
I tell you what,
That is so good.
You get
you
that
wouldn't think
depth
that
of
was
smoke.
non-alcoholic, would you?
No.
That's very good.
Really,
That is
really good.
I can see why you add the orange as well, that.
Yes, it
Delicious.
just brings all those flavours together.
I
Yeah.
love a full rim. Being salted. I just love that
Really,
flavour.
really,
So
really, really good.
But yeah, you can see
Right,
that's
so this is quite an interesting story, our last one. So where are we going for this one then?
Right, the last one. So this is a drink that I think everyone should be able to make at home.
Right.
It's absolutely brilliant, and it's called the Bramble. One you've probably all heard of. As a Cosmonaut fan, I think you'll love this as well. It was invented by a beautiful bartender, sadly passed away now, a man called Dick Bradsell, stalwart of the West End scene in London. And this is a drink he invented in 1984 at a bar called Fred's Bar. 2 parts gin, so a double measure of gin going in there. 1.5 parts of fresh lemon juice.
Now you've got your own bar, you've got your own pub now as well. How's that going?
It will be open before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm now back to working health, and when we've done our filming for the year, which is nice. And I'm now putting in half a measure of sugar syrup, and we will finish this with a whole measure of a blackberry brandy. So you can buy creme de mure. You could use Chambord at a push as well, made from wild black raspberries, not quite blackberries, but nonetheless. But I've still had loads of blackberries left in the freezer.
Love it.
So if you weigh equal parts blackberries and sugar and stuff them into a 6-ounce pot, in about 3 or 4 days' time, they turn into this wonderful syrup, to which I've then spiked it with a bit of brandy to preserve it and bring the flavours out. Homemade blackberry brandy.
This is amazing, by the way. What this non-alcoholic one? Fantastic, fantastic. The flavours are amazing.
It is. And I think, you know, and there's such a call for that these days as well. More and more people that I know are drinking less and less. It's not about possibly not drinking at all, but people like to intersperse.
It's interesting that we got a local pub near here, and he's now got, he sells as much non-alcoholic beer as he does beer. Because it's really, really good. Really good stuff now.
I've never had a bramble in my life.
Have you not?
Never.
Never had a bramble?
No.
There we go.
Never had a bramble.
You're about to. You're about to. You'll see, it should be dry, not overly sweet. It should be erring towards
That's
the
phenomenal.
sherbety side of things. But there you go. That's something you can
You are
easily make
so
at
good
home.
at this.
Enjoy.
So give us the name of this one if people wanted this at the bar.
So the bramble, gin, lemon, sugar,
Right.
blackberry brandy or creme de mure. Your pick. They're easy to make at home.
That is
No
good.
shaking, no messing.
That's good.
That's the best one,
This is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Merlin Griffiths, everybody! We definitely have it on before Christmas, definitely. Right, still to come, Monica will be making an amazing trout omelette, and I'll be serving up a show-stopping dish for my guest, Peter Andre. But after the break, no pressure on me, because I'll be back in the kitchen, in there, with a masterclass in meringue kisses, a recipe from the late, great Michel Roux Sr. No pressure there, then. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, the very talented Monica Galetti will be working her magic in this very kitchen. That's coming up next. And I'll be serving up a second course for my guest, Peter Andre, at the end of the show. But first, it's time for this week's little masterclass. And this week, I'll show you the step-by-step guide to making the perfect meringue kisses. Now, meringue kisses, the reason why I wanted to do this, it brought back memories from the late, great Michel Roux Sr., a great friend of mine, great friend of you, and you know, the show, sadly passed away a few years ago, but a legend in the industry. And this very kitchen is where I learned this numerous times when I worked for him when I was a teenager, but I remember this to this very day, this simple little meringue mixture with this beautiful, beautiful fruit. So first of all, there's different ways you can make meringue. There's things like Swiss meringue, boiled meringue, cold meringue. They're all adaptations of how you add sugar to the egg white. So we're going to start off with the egg white over here. So a lot of people say you use frozen egg white or older egg whites. I don't really agree with that. I think fresh egg whites, nowadays you can buy egg whites already in the supermarket, already pre-done. You don't need to separate the eggs. So egg whites into here. Now, there are two different types of sugar. Like I said, this is where you incorporate the sugar into the egg white, which makes the difference. So some people, if it was a hot meringue, would take just caster sugar and warm it in the oven. And then while it's still hot, you add that to the egg whites, which creates a different meringue as well when you're doing that. But this meringue, this recipe, the late, great Michel Roux Sr., uses a combination of two different types of sugar. We've got some normal caster sugar, and I've got some icing sugar over here. Now, you could, if you wanted to, add things like vinegar and corn flour, which make the meringue sticky. But particularly this time of year, you can use nature to benefit from that anyway. But when you're doing meringue like this, I'm going to stick with the classic recipe and use a combination of the two. So I've got a selection of fruit over here as well. We've got some beautiful cherries, last of the season of cherries, some beautiful, again, last of the season of raspberries. I've still got some growing in the garden, and some strawberries. It's entirely up to you what you put in here in terms of fruit, but really these are the three main ones that you want to add. So you can see the egg whites whipping up nicely over here. We've got our sugar ready. And what you tend to do with this is to add this in sort of batches, really. So once you've got a firm whipped egg white, some people add a little bit of salt in here. If you are going to add salt, steer away from things like sea salt, add a little bit of table salt in there as well, if you wanted to. That's just breaking down a little bit of egg white even more, but I don't think it needs it really with this. Now, when you add the sugar, you can hear the machine drop down a gear as it gets thicker. So I'm adding this quite quickly that goes in there. So that's the first part. Now, the second part, I'm going to turn this down a bit. Obviously, if I add icing sugars to this and the machine's on full whack, it's just going to go everywhere. So drop it down a little bit. Drop it down a little bit more. That's it. We can then add a bit more, bit more. And what the icing sugar does is makes a very, very smooth meringue, which is lovely. Now, like I said, if you want this sticky, then you can use a combination, or one or the other, of corn flour and white wine vinegar. Just a little drop into there will make this nice and sticky. But this, you can see that gorgeous smooth meringue that we've got in there. That's exactly what we want for our meringue kisses, which is this beautiful, look at that, meringue. Now, the selection of fruit that we're going to put in here is you can take some raspberries, you can take some fresh cherries, they can go in there, and we just mix this together, just with a spoon. Ever so slightly, just mix this in. Now, then what we do is once we got to that stage, then we can take our trays. Now, I'm using one of these little dehydrators over here. They may appear a little bit fancy. You can actually get these and pick them up on a very well-known auction site. This one cost me 25 quid, and they're about 300 quid new. I went all Yorkshire on me there, but these are just great. When you often find these online, they're just brilliant just to pick up. And a lot of chefs will use these because this time of the year, I'm just scooping this out on here, this time of year, meringue is affected by the weather. And it's all to do with the moisture in the air. The more moisture is in the air, the more your meringue will go sticky. That's why once they're made, they need to be either kept in something like that or cooked in something like this and kept in a dehydrator, or once you've had them cooked, pop into a sort of a nice sealed container. A lot of the time, people will put them with a little bit of silicone gel in the bottom just to draw out that moisture even more, because it's the moisture in the air that will affect the meringue. And what we do is just dollop these on. You don't need to be too fancy with them. That's the thing with this. I remember Michelle making these, and you just pop them like that in sort of an ovalish shape, and then pop them straight in here. Now, in the oven, you're going to cook these in a conventional oven, fan oven, as low as it will go, about 80 degrees, something like that. That'll cook for a couple of hours, really. These have been left in there overnight, and the great thing about this is you can drop the temperature right down. It's got a little timer, which you can switch off the machine. So they're done. And then over here, I've just got a little bit of cream, because then it's just a little assembly job, because the sauce comes on the sauce of this, which is whatever fruit you've used inside the meringue. You then use this fruit to make our little sauce. And it is a sauce. It's not the French call this coulis. A lot of the time with this, a lot of the recipes will tell you to cook the fruit with sugar. But when you've got fruit still as good as this and in season, you're relying on the quality of the fruit, really, to give you the punch of flavour. So if you cook this, there's nothing wrong with it. You'll end up with sort of jam, and there's nothing wrong with jam, but you don't want it to taste of jam. You just want it to taste of the fresh fruit. So no need for any lemon, no need for any sugar in here. You've got sugar in here anyway. It's just the quality of the fresh fruit. And you can take that and pass it through a sieve. The only reason why I'm passing it through a sieve is just to get rid of those seeds. Now, the offset from making it like this rather than cooking it, you do end up with a little bit less liquid, less sauce at the end of it, but you end up with a much, much better flavour, I think, than cooking the fruit. And what you end up with is this amazing colour with it as well. So that's your little sauce. We can then put our kisses together using a little piping bag. Now, you can flavour this cream if you want to. You can flavour this with a little bit of vanilla if you wanted to. But just whip this up. There you go, that's looking good. So you've got nicely whipped cream. I'm going to take a scoopful of that and fill this up. Like I said, you can flavour this with whatever you want. I've got in front of me that green herb over there. It's beautiful, either in meringue or in cream like this. It's delicious. I'm just going to serve it with a little garnish. It's called lemon verbena. It's a fantastic herb. You often find that in garden centres, really. It's perennial. You can just feel like I'm on Alan Titchmarsh, but with this thing, you just plant it in a pot. It's not like mint. It doesn't grow everywhere, but you just plant it in a pot. So sometimes over the years, the stems go a bit woody. Just cut it back, and each year it'll come back. But it produces this amazing herb called lemon verbena. It's beautiful. People use it for sort of flavoured teas and stuff like that. But in this, it's amazing. And you can take your meringue kisses and put them together. So take a little bit of the meringue, and then we can pipe our cream on there and pop that one to that one. It's just, they taste so good, these. And this is where if you wanted to, like I said, if you didn't want to put the corn flour or the vinegar in, you can use nature to make these sticky, because you just leave them out for a couple of hours and they'll naturally go sticky. You'd see they're already going sticky as it is, but you just lift them up, then put them together, and you've got these amazing, simple little dessert that not only looks good, but tastes delicious as well. Like that. And then finally, just to plate this up, and get your lovely little sauce on there. And you can put that on the plate. Like that. And then you can lift one of these up. Just pop them on there. A few of these around it. And every time I make these, it just brings back memories of one of the greatest pastry chefs in the world, and a good mate of mine, Michel Roux. And like him, it just goes to show dishes like this never disappear. They're special for a reason, just like him. There you have it, meringue kisses, done. Now, does anyone like to learn a little Mascas? Then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes where Monica Galetti will be putting a chefy spin on a classic omelette. See you in a bit. How good are they? Welcome back. Now I'll be serving up a stunning plate of brill, clams and mussels for my guest Peter Andre very shortly. But first, I'm here with Ryan and Liam, and we're getting ready to tuck it into a dish from a woman whose career has taken her from Samoa to Le Gavroche to a very own restaurant. Merry, I think it's pronounced?
That's right.
It is pronounced Merry. It's the one and only Monica Galetti. Wonderful to have you back. Wonderful to have you back. Superstar. So what are you going to be doing then? This is like a twist on an omelette Arnold Bennett, isn't it?
Very much so. Very much. We're classic, but you know, one that pleases all the family in one go. You know, teenagers are there, or the in-laws are in. You can just put it.
So this is an open flat omelette. We're going to grill as well. Okay.
Absolutely.
Off you go. So I know you want to make the sauce first.
Yeah. So I'm just going to get the milk to warm up for our bechamel.
So while we got on our bechamel and stuff like that, tell me about Merry. What is that? Is that Samoan? What does that mean?
Merry is Samoa. It's actually Mum's name.
Right.
You know, Mum was the one actually taught me how to cook and all of that from the beginning.
Yeah.
But didn't get to see the restaurant open, so it was a nice ode to Mum. So yeah, we're busy.
Now I have to say, of all the jobs that you do, from working in the restaurant to your bits and pieces, now you've got a huge successful TV career going as well. You've got MasterChef Professionals that's coming back.
Yes, that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So...
But the job of all jobs, this hotel business.
Oh.
I mean, that...
So jealous. Yeah.
All of us must watch this going, that's a tough ask, isn't it? Really?
I work really hard on that, guys, honestly.
When you're bored,
you know,
I'll step in.
Honestly, you know, there's a list
I'll
of
be
names.
in front of you in the queue.
List of names to get on there. But, you know, it is a wonderful job to do. But for me also, you know, as a chef, you're a lover of food, different cultures. You just get to see so much, you know.
Because you've already travelled all over the place. Where's been your place that... Because there's some amazing hotels. I remember that one with the giraffe coming through the window.
Yes.
There's some amazing places that you can go visit. Where's been your favourite?
You know, some for different reasons. I mean, we did Marlon Brando's about 5 years ago out in French Polynesia. But this year, I've got to say Sri Lanka and Puglia for me were sort of two countries that really sort of stood out.
Why Puglia?
Puglia I'd never been to before.
Right.
We have quite a few Italian chefs that spoke about it. But, you know, the food, the culture again, you know, and this hotel is very special. But... yeah, guys, you know, next time you should join me. Come along.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
She says, guys.
We got that now, we got that now. So this is your classic little bechamel that you warm up the milk.
Yeah, there we go. Warm up the milk.
And gradually add the milk. And it starts very, very quickly into a little sauce, really.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you know, as long as your milk is a bit warm, isn't it? And it can heat up in the pan like that.
Yeah.
And it all comes together.
There you go.
Lovely, smooth. You want to make sure that flour is cooked out.
And then you want to put a little bit of mustard in there as well.
Yeah, a little bit of mustard in there. And we're going to set it aside and do the rest of our dish.
I think mustard Dijon inside a bechamel is just next level. It's just phenomenal.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I have
Cheese
to
as
agree. I love mustard in there. I'm just saying a little bit, but...
That is a little bit for a chef.
Yes.
There you go.
For a chef, that's a little bit, isn't it? Yeah. And there we have it.
Happy with that?
Yeah.
OK, so then you've got the egg bit of it as well.
Yes.
So while you're doing that, tell everybody about the restaurant now, because you've been a while, you've been open now as well, but...
oh, my gosh, 6 years already.
Wow.
6
It's
years.
amazing how quickly it's gone, isn't it?
I
6
know.
years.
Can you tell? I was like, can you tell?
It goes by, doesn't it?
You know, it's just like no. And you know, my team, majority of them, you know, they've stuck it out with us through lockdown. You remember when that stuff happened?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and now gearing up for Christmas. But just more and more now being able to showcase more of my heritage through the dishes. And my team is super excited about learning about some of the Pacific Island recipes. So when I come back, James, we'll be doing more of those.
That's what I was going to ask you, because we've never been, because we're very
I've never
busy
been
as well.
It's a place. It fascinates me as a place. I mean, amazing history, but amazing food. The produce is just incredible.
Absolutely.
Right. So the butter bit. So this is the almond omelette. I vowed never to cook an omelette again on a Saturday show.
Why?
Now
I know.
left me scarred for life for 10 years. But anyway, this is a bit different.
You've scarred me for life on that as well. I've got some pepper there as well.
This is a bit different. Tell us about.
There we
So
go.
this is an open omelette.
This is an open omelette. And what I love about this is, yes, it is taken from a classic, but, you know, it's just the simplicity, or anyone can do it. You're not having to sort of pour it out at all. You've got some butter in the pan.
So what you need to do is cook it in the pan that you're going to serve it in.
Yes, we're going to serve it in there and just gently, you know, bring everything to the middle, just like so.
Now, we've got to acknowledge as well, but also remember, London is just an amazing place for food and a gastronomic capital, I believe, in the world. And you worked and ran one of the greatest kitchens that's sadly closing in the coming months, Le Gavaroche.
I know.
It's a place very close to all of our hearts.
All of our hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, I did 12 years there. Again, could you tell? So you want to keep this. I think for me, you know, the omelette has to be quite runny, you know, so you want to keep it quite undercooked before everything goes under the grill, because it's going to continue to cook. So, James, I believe this is local to you, the trout that
It is. We're quite fortunate. We got the River Test, which is not a million miles away from here. The River Itchin, famous trout river as well, but we got a selection of sort of trout fishing lakes and that kind of stuff as well. But you get a bigger trout off those lakes, which this is.
I think my family would do this. We'd have like peppered mackerel, because we loved mackerel. Every Saturday we'd have that.
Yes, mackerel
Repeats
as well.
at the end of the day, but it's
yes.
delicious.
But it's quite versatile.
I do feel like your commie chef there, just passing you. Next one, chef. There you go.
No, but you were saying, like, you know, the Gavroche. I mean, you've spent a lot of time, you know, for Michelle and all of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess go out with a high. I think I'm going to try and get in there for one more last service.
Yeah. Well, there's several places, and you know, sadly, recently we lost Nicola Dennis as well. If you know that particular era, that particular era when I was training, because I'm a little bit older than you. A
little bit.
But when I was training in that era, there was there was very, very few. There's probably a handful of restaurants. Then there was Harvey's with Marco. There was Nicola Dennis, Le Gavroche, the Waterside.
Do you know those are
Le
all the,
Tonnerre, that was it.
Those were all the places that I sent my CV to when I got to London, and the Gavroche was the first to reply.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah, and that's how I ended up working with Michelle.
What made you sort of like go down that direction in that sense? Because you just
I
came
mean, coming from New Zealand, you know, and I'd always read about the Roof family, you know, the books and everything. They were your Bible as a young chef. So I'd always inspired to one day maybe meet them. And I thought, I'll send my CV, it can't hurt. And, you know, and they were really the first to reply. And I always asked Michelle, I was like, you know, chef, what made you think of employing me? And he was like, well, you had a really interesting last name, darling.
Right, so just to recap what you've done there,
This is higher than me, this chef. There we go.
So recap what you've done. You've taken the egg has gone on there.
Yes, so we've got the egg. We've got the smoked trout from the local rivers here, and then the bechamel on top and some cheddar. Beautiful. Gratinate it, bit of chopped chives on top.
And I'm going to take care of this tea towel because apparently we're not allowed to use this. We've got a lady called Sam who comes on here and tells me off for using this tea towel. This is just a show tea towel. Everybody's got to have a show tea towel that they're not allowed to use. This is the show tea towel.
It's like that show pan in your kitchen, you know, it's just there.
You're just not allowed to use it as well.
Actually, yeah, I have one of them.
So any plans to open more restaurants as well? Because I suppose that's the temptation in it, really.
Isn't it? You know what?
You must get asked, I suppose.
I want to sort of reshuffle the restaurant a bit in the new year, make the bar really fun, vibey, you know. And then let's see if that kicks off well. The new plan there, yeah, maybe. So
tell us about while we're waiting for this. But Samoan cuisine, where it's got its own influence. Where does it take its influence from? What is it? What would you?
You've seen the World Cup recently,
yes.
Yeah? I mean, it's dominated by Pacific Islanders.
Yes.
That's because we breed them on coconut milk.
Right.
Yeah. There's literally in all our food, there's coconut throughout. But it's very much food that's about ingredients, you know, the produce,
meat-based,
the lads,
fish-based?
a lot of pork, chicken and fish as well.
Okay.
But coconut milk is sort of literally runs through everything from savouries to desserts.
Nice.
And you're going to see that in a lot of my
That's why
dishes.
she hasn't aged in 25 years.
Coconut
milk. My grandma swore by that. Coconut oil on your skin.
So there's your bread. I know you want to chop it up. I'll let you chop it up.
Nice.
Because this is going to be about another 30 seconds going on here. All right. So you've recorded the new series of the hotel.
Yes, the
thing?
hotels is just finishing up now. I've got MasterChef coming up next.
So where does the hotel series take you to? Where does that take you to?
We've been to Sri Lanka. We've done the Maldives. We've done parts of Italy, South Africa.
I do Wales and Devon.
I love Wales and Devon.
Yeah.
Don't knock it. I know. And I'm actually about to start travelling again for the next series. So literally, you know, it's like you.
Well, I know you never stop. You're going to shooting back to the restaurant straight away after this as well. That's
well, I have to. Some staff are running sick.
Is there any perks to the travelling? Can you take your family, maybe, sometimes?
You could, but I'm always busy. You know, I mean, they'd be on their own. I think they'd be fine with it too.
That's an excuse meaning no. Technically, that means no, you're staying
I was just going to be the big brother or the little brother.
You could, but I just wouldn't see them maybe until in the evening when I've finished filming. I'll be there.
That's pretty good. We're there. So there you have it.
This is what it was like in my kitchen to see the grill. I'm literally sort of jumping up and down.
That looks amazing. Look at that.
Check it out.
Look at that. So fresh chives.
Smells delicious.
Smells amazing as well already. So give us the name of this dish. It looks amazing.
And there we have a smoked trout open omelette with some sourdough on the side.
And before we finish off, I know you want to look down the lens and give a big shout out to a member of your family as well.
All right, so big shout out to my nephew Odie. You're so amazing, and you just keep fighting, baby. Mwah.
There you go. There you go. You get to taste this.
Oh, I can't wait.
Do you want a little taste?
Yeah, give me a piece
a little
of that
taste.
bread.
Little taste? So we just put it in the middle and you can have a taste?
Well, this is the thing. It's one of those, isn't it? Just everybody
boys are on
took it.
The great thing about
already.
that is you just sort of scoop it and put it on a bit of bread, don't you, and that
Yeah.
kind of stuff, so...
It looks Look at that. Whoa. I just love that cheese, that melty cheese.
And the cheese and the bechamel is and I love the fact you just put that on the top.
Yeah.
And don't overcook the eggs before you put that on the top.
Make sure
That's
it's
key to
still soft on the bottom, otherwise it's just going to be too much.
You've got two happy guys there. You got Monica Galetti, everybody. Superstar.
Thank you.
Right, before it shoots off, I'm going to hug her one more time. We've still got time for one more final course, so join us again after the break when we'll be roasting up an epic dish of seafood and fish for my guest, Peter Andre. Don't miss it. Off you go. Go on, off you go. Back in service. Welcome back to the last part of the show. I'm back in the kitchen with my guests, Liam, Ryan, Merlin, and of course, Peter Andre! There's a boy band right here. There must be a boy band. There must have been, if you could hark back several years, there must have been a boy band here. There. So I thought I'd treat you to a dish. I'd treat you all to a dish, but apart from you, really. Sorry. Because you're not a great lover of mussels and clams. They don't do anything for you, really.
No, nothing at all.
So we're going to keep that away. So I'm going to do that bit. We're going to do a wonderful little dish of some brill. We've got some clams, we've got some mussels, some tomatoes. So I'm going to, first of all, put you to work, if that's all right. We're going to then take our Isle of Wight tomatoes. These are amazing, these tomatoes. Just look at these. Absolutely glorious. Heart of gold, these ones. And what we're going to do is just grate them like that, and you end up with an amazing pulp. The bottom bit you can use for your bar and bits and pieces, which is the juice. But the inside bit, this is the way Spaniards do it, is we take the pulp and then we're going to cook it and serve it with the clams and the mussels and everything else. So I'm going to cut these down there. You're going to grate them all up into this amazing little pulp. Now, Peter, when we were talking earlier, we talked about everything possible apart from music. So
sorry.
Tell me, is it something you're celebrating 30 years in the business?
Yeah.
Is this something that, because I know you've done a few performances this year as well, the pop-up performances and stuff like that you've done. Is it something that you think this is what I want to get back into, or is that a chapter in your life? You're just going to move on to the acting side of it?
I think
that's it.
I think once you have it as a child, you know, and you like being on stage, it stays with you forever. It's an adrenaline, it's a feeling, you know, that you can't explain until you're on that stage and you get that buzz from the audience. And no matter how many times you say, yeah, I'll just do it for a bit longer and then I won't do it, it draws you back in. It really is its own drug, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, it'll always be part of my life as long as I can move my legs. If I can move like Jagger when I'm his age, mate, I'll be doing it.
It's unbelievable, isn't it, really? But look, we just got a nice little bit of fish. We were just saying, and I found some Greek olive oil. We're just going to use the Greek olive oil, just pan fry a little bit of this in and keep it really simple. No pepper that I'm going to use in this, because when I ventured out through Spain on my trip, they never used any pepper on the trip. It was all salt, all sea salt. We've got in here, that's perfect.
Actually something I learnt when I went to France, you know, James.
Was it?
Yeah, don't put pepper on it. It's more of a spice, not a seasoning, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it was almost right at the last minute, or just like that. We're just going to take this, nice and simple, and pan fry this in here.
Do you actually go back to your roots with the Greek side of things?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have a home in Cyprus, so I spend a lot of time there, and I love Greek food. But one of the things I've never really cooked is fish. And I don't know if a lot of people can relate to this, but you kind of get a bit of fear of cooking fish because you don't want to undercook it, but then you're too scared of overcooking it, and it's that fine line. What's the perfect amount of time to cook it?
I think really just secret is one of these, proper fish slice, but also leave it. Too many times with fish, and I think too many times with cooking as well, people start messing around with food too much. The temptation is to start turning it. You'll probably see me with this. I'm not even touching it. You only turn it over once, and you just leave it. And the mussels, again, simplicity side. We've got amazing mussels. These are River X. These come from the River X. These are just amazing, these sort of things. Just take some fresh mussels. They're going to go in our pan with a little bit of white wine. The whole point of this is I'm going to use the sauce for this as well. So the whole thing with the sauce and the tomatoes and everything else that's going in there, but as well, you just take the fish like that. You take this, like that, lift that off, take our lovely bit of fish, and we just simply cook that and just pop it in the oven for only a few minutes. We've got our shallots and our garlic. which are not going to take too long.
No, 10 seconds, chef,
10
trust me.
seconds away. Look
Otherwise,
at
you can sack me if you want to. It's
No,
fine.
but it's all right. It's fine. You can stay for now. It's all right. Take a little bit of this oil as well. Now, but also we talked about music. We talked about the stage. Tell us about the cookbook then, because you launched that. Tell us about the cookbook, because you venture into our world now with a cookbook. Now.
Yeah, look, it wasn't a cookbook per se, because I am in front of chefs, so I just want to be careful here. It's a lifestyle book that has recipes in it, but it's basically called It's Fine. And I'll tell you why that came about, because I love food so much, but I also love exercising and I like keeping active. And I thought there has to be a way to be able to eat all the foods that I love, still exercise and be able to stay kind of trim. And so it became a lifestyle way that I've lived for the last 10 years. And it's basically been balancing everything. As we all know, it's not rocket science.
But were you always that as a kid? Because you got sporty as a kid. Were you always like that?
I was obsessed with, eating completely clean in my 20s. And so I looked how I wanted to look, but I didn't feel great, So I'd always get sick because I had no body fat. And then in my 30s, I put on 3 stone because I ate everything and didn't get active, and I just rebelled against it. And then in my 40s, I thought, no, there has to be an in-between. And that's when I teamed up with Ben Smith, who's a nutritionist, and he lost 11 stone doing this.
I mean, you've just finished a big old stint in the West End.
Yeah.
I mean, that you've got to be physically fit to be able to keep doing that. Because what have you got, like 9 shows a week or something like that?
Yeah, and it's a good point, because I always say this. When I was in my 20s, I trained to look good. In my 50s, I'm training to feel good. And there's a big difference because, you feel better.
Yeah.
But I'm not obsessed with it like I was in my 20s, that's for sure. But shows like that keep you fit. Yeah, they do. You've got no choice. You're running around and,
It's pretty
probably
full
all the grease on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Right, so just running through what we got in here. We got some nice little bit of fish that we got in there with a little bit of lemon. I'm just going to take our sauce now. So this is our nice little sauce. We're then going to take our liquor, which we've got. So this finishes off our sauce. So we've got our juice from our clams and our mussels. I've got some whole ones over here, which I'm going to use for a little garnish. So this is where we take off the little grit. So just when you drain this off, you just don't want any of that grit. There's a little bit that goes in there. Even though these mussels are amazing, you just want to watch those. And what you're going to do is reduce this all down. We've got the tomato pulp over here, and we just simply finish this off. Now, I've got also some smoked paprika. What we used earlier, which I'm a massive fan of, so you can just put a little
spice in the kitchen.
dot of that in here. And then we take our lovely juice from this with our cooked tomatoes and our paprika. Whack the heat right up now, because this takes quite quickly to cook. There we go.
Beautiful.
I think this is it's what chefs like to eat, don't you think?
Yeah, it's feel-good food. So you're looking at it and you think fresh, Mediterranean diet, all that sort of thing. It's delicious. You don't feel guilty.
It's a 10-minute meal.
It is. Yeah, I've been told it's 6 minutes in my ear now.
6?
Yeah.
Yeah, have that, Jamie.
But there you go. You just take the tomatoes and you reduce this all down. I mean, fresh tomatoes like this, with a little bit of the juice from the clams and the mussels, nice and simple.
And then anything else for you, chef?
Well, you can put the mussels, the clams back in.
Exactly.
They can go in. Lovely. And then go on, straight in.
I'll take the juice out.
Straight in.
Or juice okay?
No, the whole lot can go in. Lovely.
It's so much better than using a tin tomato, isn't it?
When you've got, and when they're fresh.
Yeah.
It's a Spanish way of cooking. I mean, tin tomatoes are amazing. They will still make the same thing.
Yeah.
But you just got a little bit of that. Give it a month. They're gone, aren't they? Well, less than that. In a couple of weeks, really, they're gone. But you just got some parsley in there. Bit of seasoning.
Well, I can't really taste this. So
I'm going to taste it.
Yeah, exactly. Just a bit of salt. Obviously, no pepper. A couple of chefy pinches.
A bit more than that.
Tomatoes can take a lot of salt, which is quite nice.
A bit more black pepper. I'll give you a little squeeze of black pepper.
So if you have to cook a meal of fish for somebody, but you can't taste it, what happens in that situation?
Games to taste it.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
That's a chief taster.
I was really confused for a minute.
It tastes a lot more than me.
But
I have to.
that's
Smells
like
delicious.
You know it's great.
that job.
So we got that little spoon, have we?
Yep.
So we can grab our spoon. You take your
Oh, mate, that looks fantastic.
just fresh as a daisy like that. And the little bit of smoked paprika in there as well is just wonderful. But this is probably the final week of the tomatoes. After that, out the tin, same thing. Cook it nice and hot.
It's not the same with green tomatoes, is it?
Well, not green tomatoes,
No,
no,
but the end of the season when the tomatoes still haven't ripened, it's just not the same flavour. It's just
And then you've got a few clams going on here,
presentation, nice.
a few bits going on there. And then we've got the mussels, a few bits going on, a few more of the clams. And then we've got a beautiful bit of fish.
I was going to go out for a meal later, but I think
I'm sorted. I think you'd be all right, won't you?
sorted.
A little bit of that. And then you want, with this, you want a massive glug of olive oil. The whole point about this is you take olive oil and put plenty on it as well.
You know what it needs as well?
There's
A
no
good
butter.
crispy piece of bread.
That's
Soak
exactly
oil and
right.
juices up.
That's what you want as well. So there you have it.
Wow,
My little version of simple fish cooked with mussels and clams, fresh tomatoes, for all my guests today. Well, all but one.
All but one.
All but one.
I'll
But there
clean
you go.
up.
You can have
Call me
tomatoes on
clean,
toast, if
Rob.
that's
Thank
all
you very
right.
much.
There you have it. Done. Right, there you go. Peter,
Lovely.
Thank
dive
you.
in. There you go, Sheffy. And there you go, Sheffy. And me and thee are left with two little bits of fish. We'll just use a little drizzle of olive oil. We can take a little bit of the tomato pulp, shall we? We'll make our own little dish up, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. A few little herbage. It's all gone quiet in the far end over there.
That's good.
This is
Peter,
absolutely
happy?
fantastic.
Oh, mate.
Brilliant steak.
It is.
Exactly.
Little
Oh,
bit,
did you just say
bit
it's
of brill,
grilled,
a
as in
little
it's
bit of
grilled?
olive oil.
No
is.
pun intended.
It's delicious.
I love food like that.
That is fantastic.
I just love the
Absolutely
simplicity of it.
The acidity, everything is delicious.
Sorry. It's
You're in
very
your own
good.
little world there, aren't you?
Mate, I just fall into this ecstasy kind of. I can't explain it.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Ah.
Nice, nice. Well, there you go. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. Merlin, Monica, Ryan, Lee, and of course, Peter Andre. Best of luck with everything you're doing as well. Best of luck. We'll see you on screen or on stage or listen to you on the... Yeah.
And at your restaurant.
Exactly.
That's where I'm
Well,
coming.
You'll probably still be here at this rate next week. But anyway, see you back at the same time next week when he'll still be here. When I'll be joined by top forager Alicia Vasey. Galton Blackinson will be here and Romy Gill. And we're joined by top tenor Alfie Bow. There's a duo. There you go. Alfie Bow and you singing next week. How's that?
Fantastic. You're
Done.
talking about food.
I'll cook more of that. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching. See you at my house next week. Bye for now.